Welcome in to today's episode of Around the Pin. Today is August 11th, Tuesday, following the PGA Championship this past weekend and a tournament of our very own, the Somerville Country Club Invitational. Thank all of you guys for coming in tonight and spending your night with me and all the listeners out there. But before we get started on today's episode, let me remind you, if you are not following us on social media, go give us a follow. It's Golfletes1 on Twitter and at Golfletes on TikTok and Instagram. Don't forget to always send us feedback, DM us, comment, whatever you want to do. We always accept it. And if you ever hear anything or see anything that you want to be talked about on the show, just let us know. So without further ado, let's get into today's show. Collin Morikawa, my guy, comes in with the win this weekend. $2 million in his pocket, 600 FedEx points, and he is the new PGA champion. So, fellas, what do we think about young Morikawa winning this weekend?
That's insane.
You picked him. Congrats to you, Scott. 2 weeks in a row, we got some proper picks.
You know what's crazy? I saw a stat that he's been pro 16 months, something like that, and he's won $7 million.
Ooh.
Like,
that's a lot of money.
There's still a chance, boys. We can go pro anytime. $7 million in a year and a half. It can happen.
It can happen.
We could do it.
There's still hope for all of us.
I'll tell you this much. I tweeted this out yesterday, and I will reiterate it here. Collin Morikawa has a chance to be the next Tiger Woods. And you heard that correct. And you heard that straight from my mouth.
Hot take.
You gotta, yeah, that's about the
on fire.
That's about the hottest take that you can have right now. He's gonna be the next Tiger Woods. Wow. You heard it here first on Around the Pin.
Wow.
That right there is burning up hot right there. I don't know if it's gonna be.
I gotta back away from my screen.
I don't know if it's gonna pan out for you, but the man can play some golf. We'll say that.
He's only missed the cut twice. He's won 3 times. One of it was the PGA Championship. I don't know what else. The proof is in the pudding, Phils. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, the kid's good. He's good.
Is he good or is he on a hot streak? Which one?
I think he's good. I mean, he's got a really smooth, sweet swing. I mean, he looks like he's got a swing that can last him several years on tour, more than several years.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll say this much. I do think that the streak, like a streak kind of thing, has something to do with it. Because golf, as we know, is a game of when you're hot and when you're not. But when he went on 22 weekends in a row without missing a cut, I think at that point it's like, yeah, maybe this guy's just really good.
There's something.
I mean, at that point, yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe there's something to it. But and also like one thing that people don't even realize is that he's part of Team TaylorMade, and when they released the Sim line of drivers and clubs not too long ago, he was there with like Rory and Rahm and Tiger and those guys, like that very small group of people who got to go out and test them the very first time before they were ever on the market. Like he was in that group.
That's wild.
So, like, dude's good, man. Dude's good. They obviously knew something at that point, but
good for him.
He
23, right?
He's good.
Yeah.
What?
He's 23 years old, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's nuts to think about somebody that's as old as I am as a PGA champion and's got $7 million in the bank right now.
It's nuts.
He's
good.
Wolf is younger than you, and he's won tournaments. He's not a PGA champion, but he's won tournaments.
Yeah, I don't like him. I'm not really concerned with him.
Yeah, I know. I figured.
Congrats to Morikawa.
Matthew. Yeah. I was just going to say the last thing that I will say about that is Daniel Berger, once again, tied for 13th. So not a top 10, but really close. I don't know. Now, Daniel Berger might be streaky. He might be on a streak, but he's been playing good golf. And he's been up there. I just wanted to point that out because I saw him like at the top of the list again. You better watch out. He may win something here soon. But let's move on from the big boys and let's talk about us. We had our very first tournament as a Golfletes team this past weekend out at Somerville Country Club. It was a stroke play event, 2-day stroke play. We all played our own ball. And I'll just say that before I say anything else, it was hot.
Oh, it was blistering.
It was
scalding.
So stupid hot.
Blistering hot. Now, I'll say that to say this. Had a great time,
What
but
a
it was
blast.
hot.
It was just almost as
Oh,
hot as your tank, Scott.
That was
Almost.
pretty
It's
hot.
up there with my take. I told Jesse this yesterday. I got home on Sunday night and went to bed, and went to work on Monday. And I think it was when I was coming home from work on Monday afternoon, and literally just walking from my car to my apartment, and I was like, I just don't have any desire to be outside. I was still I still felt like hot. And so yeah, and he had called me shortly after, and I told him, and I was like, dude, these last 2 days, because if you think about it, guys, we were out there from the crack of dawn till like
Yeah, you guys were
daybreak,
out there
like
a
or
long
not day.
time.
Not only was
I mean,
it just
it was-
hot, but we played some of the longest rounds of golf I think I've ever
Oh
played.
my god.
I think Saturday
It's
was 6
definitely-
hours.
Oh,
It's definitely a tournament where if you don't want to wait, then you can't play in it because I mean we were probably averaging
Yes.
8-minute wait time between shots.
It
That's
was like
probably
3 hours for the first 9 holes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Saturday.
why I played
Yeah.
so bad. Now I
Saturday
get
was
it.
it was slow.
Yes. Makes sense.
Saturday
No.
was slow.
I'll tell you, Hunter, that was not why you played so bad. Why you played so bad is because you took full swings with the entire tree in front of you on numerous occasions. I really just don't know what your expectations were. For the
There's
listeners
so
at
many
home,
damn trees
let's just
out
go.
there.
Let's jump right into this, fellas.
The
listeners at home, we got to play together, all together on the day one. Tal was in a group with some of our other friends, and our sound engineer Bert. He got to play with him, so they were in a group, and then me, Jesse, and Bryan and Hunter were in a group, and so riding with Hunter on Saturday was I don't know what to call this. It was an experience in its own.
Jesus.
I've never been in an experience quite like that in a round of golf in my life.
I need some popcorn for this.
But
Good God.
look.
I feel like I've been put on stage and just ripped
You
apart.
just take a shovel, stick it in some manure, and throw
Okay.
it on him. Because that's
All I'm
what
gonna
you
say
do.
is Sunday morning. Scott got in the cart and we were kind of recapping Saturday, and he was like, I hope Hunter just makes better golf decisions today, because I would kind of talk to him about his shots, and he would be behind a big tree, and he'd be like, all right, Hunter, I think you should just punch this one out to the 100-yard marker, and then hit a wedge up. And then he would like full on take a daddy hack and an iron and like get pissed off when he would hit the tree. And Scott was just kept on saying, he's like, Scott's famous lines that day were, or what do you expect?
What do you expect?
That was just like the gist of Scott's recap right there.
Yeah, I don't want this to sound insulting, because I had a great time on Saturday, Hunter. There were so many times where I was like what is going through Hunter's head at the moment? I don't know what it was, man, but something about it. But it was great at the same time, because it gave me a little humor, something to laugh at. So kept me light on my feet. And I think we all had a good time. But
I have
let's
a theory,
talk about.
Scott.
It
Okay,
was
go
a
ahead.
tough weekend all around.
My theory is this, and I've had some time to think about it, a day to think about it. But so I got to play with Hunter. Let's see, on Friday our practice round, Saturday our first round, and on Sunday. And so for the listeners, I just want to preface the weekend round with this, because I think this is a key piece of information. During our practice round, Hunter hits a monster bomb tee shot and puts himself slightly under a tree, ironically. However, the tree was not in play on this one. Pulls out a sand wedge and cranks it every bit of 165. Okay, long
Dang.
story short, sand wedges of no more. This
Rip.
is the practice
Oh,
round.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. TaylorMade sand wedge.
R.I.P. to the
R.I.P. to the swedge.
So, Scott, to answer your question, this is my theory. Why did Hunter take daddy hacks to try to get through trees? Because he just got a new wedge, didn't feel comfortable playing that 100-yard, 56 degree. So he's just like,
You're
man,
probably
I'm just
right.
gonna use my 4-iron and stick
That
her up on
makes-
him.
That's actually a
So
really,
much
really
sense.
good.
That had to be it.
That's
That had to
something
be
that
it.
I have not
That
thought
had to
about
be
at
it.
this point.
It's stupid how much sense that makes.
I'll say this to try and take some off of Hunter here because you guys are basically shitting on him. We had a
How did
round
that
that we
weekend?
played out there before where I was riding with Scott, and I decided, I can Tiger Woods this because I'm behind a tree, and I'm like, okay, I can just hook this slice it around, and put it up there on the green. I have a natural slice. Let me just do it. So naturally, I tee it up and I go, Scott, film this. Pulls out the phone, puts up the tripod, goes after it, and I'm like, all right, here we go. And I go and just whack this son of a gun as hard as possible, like money, straight into the tree. And I watched it bounce 30 yards behind me. And I looked at Scott like, well, that didn't work at all.
I just want to point out my favorite quote from Tao too. So Friday, Tao shows up late. We had been through almost 9, I think, at that point. Tao rolls up. He's got his tripod, his nice Nikon. Is it a Nikon or a Canon, Tao?
Cannon.
It's a Canon. He's got his nice Nikon on there. And our buddy goes, hey, Tao, see you brought your GoPro. He goes, what do you think, we're poor? You kidding me? Look at this thing. He pulls his tripod out with his Canon on it. So I guess ain't no damn GoPro.
What's hilarious is when I posted that video of me driving that ball and like club flipping, there was Scotty's tripod sitting on front of the cart, and somebody said it was a trophy system from Call of Duty when I was rolling up.
Why didn't you not tell me about that?
I thought
didn't see
it was
that.
so funny.
That's
Oh,
good.
Lord.
Now that I think about that, it does look like that a lot. Oh my gosh, that was
Well, I have a
hilarious.
question.
Not
I have
to
a
mention-
question I want to ask all of you guys. I know this past weekend was a good time for all of us, and we each one of us had low points, and each one of us had high points. But I wanted to ask y'all, what were y'all's reactions and first impressions of your first tournament event, playing a tournament golf?
I mean,
I
honestly,
think it
I
got
enjoyed
the
it.
best of me.
Yeah, it got the best of me, but I had fun.
It got the best of me because I had the potential to play my best round, and when the pressure was on, I'm not going to say that I cracked, but
You
when the
cracked.
pressure was on, I'm not going to go that far.
I'll say
I
this.
can't
I'll say
help-
this. You and
There's a
I,
hairline.
you and I had, we were in the same flight. We got paired in the same flight. You shot one better than me the first day, and we went into day 2 with a little bit of fire under us and wanting to compete against each other and hoping that it would make our scores that much better by wanting to be so competitive against each other. And we'll get more into that. We'll dive deeper into that later. But I wanted to say this about Scott is, we teed off at 1 the first day, and he came out at about 12:30. He told me he put his phone in his bag, he locked in, went total game mode, was focused as hell, and the first couple holes really didn't go his way, and we get to 3, and Scott's a little frustrated, and I was just tired of watching him suffer, I guess. I mean, he wasn't playing that bad, but you could tell that something was off with him. So I walked over to him, and Scott and I had been teammates for a couple years playing college baseball and had a pitcher-catcher relationship. And I know how to talk to Scott, and I know how to snap him out of it and stuff. And I just walked up to him, and all I said is, man, don't take this so serious that it's not fun anymore. Because when you stop having fun, that's when you're going to play really bad. And you're just being so serious right now. Take a deep breath. Just play some golf. And I mean, the man just went on and put a stripe show the rest of the day. So I'll say you played really, really well this weekend, Scott. I know you're disappointed in how you scored, but you played well.
Well, I appreciate that, and that seriously, like even say, like just hearing that, I couldn't tell you guys what about that he said that really like helped me click out of that. But whatever it was, it worked. But yeah, our relationship was pretty good. So I think and even like when he was walking over, like I was right in front of the cart, so he could have been just walking over to like put a club up or get something out of the cart. But like when he was taking those steps over, like I knew he was going to come say something to me. And so I don't know, but it was funny. But I think I would say I'm going to sneak peek into something else. We had our first ever in the same room podcast session, little deal that should be coming out in the following week or so. And I said that because that was after round 1, prefacing round 2, and I said that Jesse and I were going to have a Tiger versus Phil-esque match, I'd be dang if we didn't go out there on Sunday and have a shot for shot match. Because
Yeah.
I'll say
I
this,
remember.
going into 17 on Sunday, we were tied because I had him. He had me by one front, and I had him by one on the back going into 17. And I'll let him say what happened on 17 and 18. But I told you guys that we were going to have a Tiger versus Phil-esque match, type kind of match. And you're like, oh, no, that ain't going to happen. One of y'all's going to go out there and suck. And all that. Like, I remember that. That didn't slip my mind.
Brian was saying a lot Saturday night, so he was chirping a lot. He didn't want it to
That's
happen,
funny.
but I'll tell you, boy, did we deliver,
No, it's
Scott.
not that I didn't
Boy, did we
want it to
deliver.
happen.
And I'll say this too. It's not like we had a Tiger versus Phil match where we're both shooting 89 and 90. I mean, we were playing some golf, and Scott didn't want to know what he was shooting until the 18th hole. But after 16, I think we were putting on 16. I walked up to him and I said, "You and me are tied." And I wasn't playing good
Yeah,
at the
that's
point.
what
At
did
that
it.
point,
That's what
and
did it.
I was pretty pissed off about it. Honestly,
why
I
he
wasn't
did
like
it.
saying that. I wasn't saying that because I was happy. I was like,
I was trying to
"We
stand
got a
up,
match."
Scott.
I was like, "We got a match. You and me are tied." And
Scott, he
He
wanted
knew
you
he
to
knew that
fumble.
was gonna he knew
He
that was gonna
wanted
get
it.
in my head. He
He
knew that was
wanted
gonna
you
get
to
in my head.
fumble the bag.
I wanted
he
you
did.
to I wanted
He
you to
did it
feel
on
it because I
purpose.
know that you and I always talk about wanting to keep it close, and we always have had these matches that just come down to 17 and 18 or 18, and I wanted you to know that because I just feel like it makes it that much better. Should we walk them through what happened, or how do you want to do it, Scott?
Well, I will say this, but then I want to talk about Tal for a second. Um, we said also the night before. No, it was actually on the way to the course on Sunday because it was just me and Jesse in the car on the way to the course, so we had a different tee time than the other guys. And I said to Jesse, and I quote, like, this is word for word. I said, what if we go out there and it's like the good old days where we have it like shot for shot and it comes down to 17 and 18? I didn't say 18. I literally said, what if it comes down to 17 and 18? And I'd be dang if it wasn't tied at 17. Like,
Heck yeah.
I mean, it was crazy how much stuff just kind of like fell into place. But no, actually, what I want to do, I got two shout outs. Shout out number one, Brian Doss. Brian was the champion of his flight. Brought home 3 Benjamins. So congratulations, Brian.
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you,
I'll
sir.
let you. I'm gonna let you expand on that in just a second. My second shout out is Tal Gotti. Tal was my caddy for my Sunday round. I caddied for him in the morning, kind of gave him, read some putts for him, and helped him out and drove him around and tried to ride with him when I could. The cart situation was a little sticky, but was just kind of always there behind him and gave him his range and stuff. And he turned the favor when he did not have to, because I had to be like when I was there in the morning, I had to be there in the afternoon, obviously. So, like I was there anyway. But Tal, like once his round was over, like he could have very easily just went home and like chose to ride with me for basically the entire 18 and helped me out and like was there just motivating me and stuff. Because I think usually Jesse's like if I'm playing with Jesse, he's like he'll be motivating me, but obviously we were competing, so he couldn't really do that. So Tal was there to like motivate me the whole time and help me out. So shout out to Tal. So I told you that the day before we left, but I'll say it again on the podcast for everybody here. Thank you. You're a boss. So
Absolutely.
Good job,
that.
Tal.
I just didn't want to motivate you like
awesome.
Jesse does. I wasn't going to be like, come on, Scotty. You got 2 strokes
Yeah.
here. You need them. These are important.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell you your score.
Just do it.
I know. And then you kind of got upset when I asked for my score on
Dude,
going into 18. Here, I will say this because the only reason I wanted to know is because I knew that I was going to be in the 70s at that point, like going into 18. And so all I wanted to know for was because, let's just say I put one on the green and like I had to make the putt for like 79, that I wanted to be able to like make that putt and be able to like celebrate. I didn't want to like make the putt, walk back to the cart, and then everything's over, and then realize I made 79.
I get
I wanted
that.
I wanted to have the opportunity to celebrate if it was there.
I do
But
get
it wasn't.
that. What,
It
what's
wasn't, so-
what is
Scott? I never heard.
I was at 83 because
83.
17 wasn't bad. I parred 17, but
Mhm.
there were other things that happened on 17 that kind of led to me blowing up on 18, and so I kind of blew up on 18 and ended up with an 83. So
The funniest thing is right after he asked me what his score was, and I was just like, 78 right now, Scott. He goes up there and goes to tee off, because it's that little par 3. And I looked at Brandon standing next to me, and I just go and pointed to the water. I was just like, watch this. And lo and behold, he hits it right at it, like right short of that tree.
Scotty.
And Brandon looked at me and was like, why did you say that? And I was like, because I knew he was going to do it. He asked me for his score. I just knew that it was, of course, going to happen.
You reminded me, Tao. We do have to give a shout out, Tao. The morning group of me, Bryan, Tao, and Peyton had another toughish day. Bryan played pretty well.
We also played golf.
Challenging.
We had a challenging day.
Round.
So we started on number 8. So we finished on number 7. Number 6, we posted a Bryan parred. Tao, you had a 7?
Something like that.
Peyton had an 8, and I had a 9 to explain on a par 5 to explain the hole. The next hole, we go to a par 3, and me and Peyton go from 8 and last hole. Peyton and I go from 8 and 9 to birdie, and Tao and Bryan par. And we're like, where in the hell has this been all day? We go from 8s and 9s to birdies.
It's pretty exciting to watch, watching y'all wrap it up. Me and Scott
Oh my god!
I chipped
that
in.
Got us fired up to play.
I was sitting in the cart on the cart path because when y'all finished, like, that was, at the time we were supposed to tee off at 1. We didn't, but we were supposed to tee off at 1, and at the time it was like 12:30 or something. Like, it was like right for my round, so I was sitting in the cart trying to like conserve energy and stuff. And Tal, like, obviously, like I said, like, I was kind of caddying for him the whole day, so like that was my guy. He chipped in on 18, and I like jumped out of the cart, put both my hands up, like walked all the way over to him to like give him some nucks, and like I'm just over here like celebrating and like, oh man, that was an awesome moment for me, Tal. I think that honestly like pushed me to my start round, so that was awesome.
Like I said, that got me fired up to play.
That was wild.
Before that celebration happened, though, we were standing on the tee box of that par 3, and I remember saying, I think I looked at y'all, Jesse and Scott, because they rode with us most of our round, and I think Monty was there too, and I don't remember if AJ was there or not, but I remember standing on the tee box, and I go, y'all over there like getting your clubs or whatever, and I go, so over under, like how many balls are we gonna have on the green right here? Right after we just had a 7, 8, and 9 posted on the previous hole. And they were like, 1, maybe. And by God, we all.
Jesse said
1.
I said 1.
We had 2 on the dance floor.
Yeah, I was off technically. I was on the edge, like just barely off on that fringe.
You were on the fringe,
was in the middle.
and I absolutely scolded past the green. Just
went over the green.
I hit a pitching wedge like 160.
You flew the green twice and then chipped in.
I know.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Monty said 2. Yeah, he
Monty
did.
said 2.
Okay.
He did.
Shout out, Monty.
Because I don't remember who it was, but it came down to whoever was last on the tee box. Like, they had to hit the green for it to be 2. And like in the air, like halfway in the air, I'm sitting in the cart. Yeah, it was Peyton.
Yes.
Or as some of y'all may have heard before, Bert. That was Bert. And Monty like jumps out of the cart, and like the ball's like midway in the air, and Monty like jumps out of the cart and is like doing like this,
celebrating.
The ball even hits the green.
Shot all weekend.
I think it was the best hole.
Weekend.
It was the best hole.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's good, dude.
That was a good way to finish the round. I think we just saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and our bodies were just like, you know what, we can power through.
We can do this.
We could do it.
It did not feel like our last hole.
No, it didn't.
I felt like we played for 15 days.
I was ready to keep going.
It was really exciting, and it was really exciting
and
uplifting to see you guys finish like that. I mean, like we've said multiple times already, like that really got us going, and seeing you guys be excited and stuff. And at the time, just from seeing the scores from the day before, I had a really good feeling about Bryan because he improved by 6 or 7 shots, and he was already leading the flight. And just after watching the scores that were in that flight already, I just didn't know that there was going to be anybody that would sniff him. And that ended up being the case. I mean, nobody even got close to Bryan, so it was really exciting to see them go out and to see Hunter and Peyton both knock in birdies on the last hole. That was great. Then obviously Tao chipping in, it just got us fired up and got us going.
I think it was so funny because like that was one of. I mean, obviously, like I know for me and Tal, it was our first tournament ever, like individual or team or whatever. Like it was our first tournament, and like obviously with these things, you have like cash prizes, like we've said, like Bryan won 3 Benjamins and all that. It was so funny to me, like over the weekend, nobody I think ever like actually realized it, but we were like, usually you think like you win something like that, especially like because if you come in first place at $300. Usually you would think in a situation like that, it's like, oh yeah, like if I win this, like I'm gonna go, throw a party, I'm gonna go celebrate, have a, spend it, whatever. I think every single one of us at one point was like, man, if I win this, I'm paying my electric bill or something. Like that.
Grown man.
That's
It
word
wasn't
for
like
word.
it golf. It was going towards
That's
life.
what I like.
Word
So I
for
know
word what I said.
Tal said if I win this, I'm paying all my student loans, and like I said,
Putting
electric
straight
bill.
in there.
And then I heard Bryan say electric bill. So but like I swear, it's like at some point I heard everybody say like what they were gonna use it for, and it was all just like some sort of bill or something.
It's that
Not
grown
a-
man
not a-
business right there.
Not a fun thing like a new wedge set or a new driver or something, but for the
Yeah.
utility bills.
No, we're paying off
Yeah, I'm sure
bills.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what Collin Morikawa said this weekend when he earned $2 million. He's probably like, yeah, I get to pay my mortgage. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
just pay my
Surely,
pay it
right?
off.
Pay off my car note.
Pay it off. Pay
Yeah,
off the
sure,
car.
like-
Pay off the house.
Yeah.
In
I
full,
thought I
That-
made out big this weekend, but he made me look like a chump.
dude. That guy. It's $2 million. Can you imagine winning that by playing
No.
a game that you love?
Honestly, no.
I couldn't even think about what I would do, like how I would react after that. That's so much money
I'll
to
say-
just win playing a game.
I'll say this, like with that being said, right there, Bryan is almost like just steps and steps above me because I'm sitting here thinking like before the tournament started, like, man, I can't imagine coming out here and playing golf for 2 days and taking home $300. It's like Bryan has like got to feel that a little bit. Tell us what that felt like. Tell us what that felt like when you got that number 1 written beside your
Got some
name.
walking around money there, Bryan.
Yeah, you buy some new shoes.
I may be right. I may be right or wrong, but I may have Bryan's eyes. I looked at him. May have had a little bit of liquid in there. I don't know.
Brian, he called Sarah immediately and was like, "Guess who's paying
This
off
is
the
how it happened.
electricity?"
I told him I would have hit it. I would have been like, "Nah, I didn't win anything.
I
this
didn't win."
weekend and go buy something important."
No, this is how it happened. I shot a 98 the first day, so yeah, I might have won $300, but I was the best of the worst flight. Okay, it was not that great. Not a whole lot of bragging rights there.
He's a
But I
tall
came back
midget.
on the second day, shot a 92, which I was proud of. And I remember we went to turn in our scorecards. We were one of the first group to turn in scorecards.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
if not the first group. And I remember sitting there. They were waiting. I was in the cart with Jesse waiting to tee off for him to tee off. And I was like, dude, we just kept going back and forth. All of us kept going back and forth. Like, man, like there's a legit chance. Like I might get $300, yo.
Yeah.
And showing up, I remember Jesse and them were y'all are stepping on the tee box, and AJ drives up to me, says, "Man, there's still like a group or two that has to come in, but all their scores are like 105, 106." It was like, so you practically got it won. I was just like, I just got $300, y'all. Just got $300. Like,
300
it was so
big
quiet
ones.
because like there was like I think Monty was teeing off when it happened or whatever. So like first thing I did was I called Sarah. I was like, Sarah, I just won $300. Such a small
Dude,
victory.
I'll-
but
Gotta let
it's
her
so
know.
big.
Brian, what you
wanna say this.
really should have done too is Brian's group for Sunday they did what's called a players pool, and it's basically you're competing against the guys in your flight. So regardless of winning the flight or whatnot, if you win the players pool, you shoot the lowest score in your flight. You win the players pool if you enter. It's $20 entry fee, and a bunch of people do it, and that's just another pot that you can win if you shoot the lowest score of the day. And Brian ended up shooting the lowest score of the day. And we rode
I
over
shot
to
the
my
lowest
cousin
score by, like,
Matt.
6 strokes.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. We rode over to my cousin Matt to get us $300 and was like, "Hey, you won the players pool too. Like, here's your money for that." And Brian was like, "Well, I didn't enter in the players pool," and he was like, "No way, really?" And how much more money was that? It was like 120
There's
bucks.
another
to shoot ahead.
120
I'd have
bucks.
said thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have walked out with 420,
420, baby.
No, I would have walked out with 420.
but I didn't have 20 bucks on me when it happened. Nor did I think I was going to go out there and play how I played.
Yeah.
So I'll
You
take. I'll
should
take
have whipped out a
300
20 and been like, "Can
and
I
walk
enter
out.
now, Matt?" Just hand it to him. Here's a 20. I'll take the
Yeah.
120. Thank you very much. Move on with our lives.
I was
Where does
pleased.
that
Dude, it was
go?
so. It was.
If somebody doesn't
Do what?
enter, where does it go? Where does that 120
Just
go?
to the next
People
finisher.
that-
The lowest score they
They
entered.
do the
Yeah.
top 2 scores. So like I entered in the players pool in me and Scott's flight, and I shot the second lowest score. So I got a payout for that. It wasn't the big payout, but it was like $90, whereas the winner got like 120 or something like that for theirs. So
Gotcha.
Still pretty
any
good.
cash is any cash
Shout
is
out,
good
yeah.
cash. Any cash is good
Brian's
cash.
the only guy that
Brian-
got out
Brian-
the lock on the weekend.
Brian would have walked out with almost $5,000 if he had entered in that players
Yeah.
pool. And he made a comment to me. He was like, "Dude,
I'll
I
tell you
almost
this.
made $500,000 in one weekend
Yeah.
playing golf."
Mind
I'll
blowing.
tell you who did
It's almost
walk
a
out.
month's rent.
I'll tell you who did walk out with over $500,000. That was the overall champion. Because I was standing right next to him when he got handed like 3 different envelopes of money.
Jeez.
The overall champion came out there. He had never played the course before. Came out there and shot a 65 on the first day and a 69 on the second day on Sunday. And both days was wearing Kyrie's out on the course, not even wearing golf shoes.
When you
Like-
wear golf shoes,
The man.
Wasn't he,
What the
like
heck,
wasn't
man?
wasn't
wearing a
and it's not like
medium.
he's wearing like he wasn't wearing golf shoes.
Hey,
A
that dude was
pink
built.
shitty
I'll show
never-
what you say.
And
That dude was
Somerville
built.
Country Club, Somerville Country Club is not a course that you can not play ever and then just come out and like have a good day. Like it's just not like it's too hard of a course. You have to
65
play
is
your
unheard
best.
of.
Like that's exactly what I'm getting to. Like seriously, like he came out, has never played the course before. 65, 69 in basketball shoes. Took home like 3 different envelopes full of money. So I don't know. Like we could probably do some investigating to kind of calculate how much he got, but I'm telling you, like it was
Dude,
over $500.
that guy.
He won the players pool, and everybody in that flight entered the players pool, and then he won overall grand champion. So he got the players pool
had to
money,
get
the
close to
overall
$1,000
grand champion money, and his entry for next year is free. He's like guaranteed entry into next year's tournament. What I thought what I thought was crazy about this guy is he literally rolls in 10 minutes before the tee time in the afternoon, walks down to the practice net, pulls out it had to have been an 8-iron or 7-iron or something, picks up 3 balls, drops them on the mat. And usually when you're like warming up, you like crack your back and stretch a little bit. This guy drops the ball, cracks open his glove, puts it on, and takes hacks from the get go. I mean,
just stripes them.
I'm not convinced that he didn't play like 9 holes before he came, because he came out just swinging into the practice net. I've never seen anything like it. If I swung as hard as he did practicing warming up,
Dude,
I'd throw him back out.
he came up on that
You
par
heard
5
yourself.
and just took his 2-iron out, spun it, walks up, smokes the ground 3 times with the head of that club, just sets the ball on it and just goes and hits it like 280 yards. Just
This is a driver hole
Dude.
too,
and like just put a draw on it. Didn't even watch it. Just hit it and walked back to the cart.
He knew where it was.
Oh my! It was beautiful.
unreal.
Probably was playing my Nike
a bit-
ball that I lost night
God,
before.
still got
He
that
picked
Nike
it up.
ball.
Just
Oh
saying.
man.
That's such a big flex, dude.
Scott, you know,
Real.
he
You know who walked away $500 in the red on the weekend, Scott? Was this guy. Between $120 to play, probably another 100 in beer, 180 in Edwin Watts for a new sand wedge. I mean, just keep adding them up.
That was your own fault.
That was my own fault. Oh, I never said it was a bad thing. I just
Dude,
said
I
didn't
did
walk-
spend.
I
I'm
didn't walk
with
away
you.
with shit.
I did spend a
It's
lot of
expensive.
money this weekend.
It's a
I mean,
good thing I
it was-
sold my house
it was
before I split
120.
up on Friday.
Yeah, like it was
Brian,
120
you know
what
what-
to enter.
You know what's a good feeling?
So,
You and me winning our entry fees back and some.
yes, sir.
Sucks
Hell
for these
yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
you ain't gotta rub
but
it in.
but it was nice. It was a
Hell,
fun weekend.
Yeah, I mean, what it was like 120 to get to enter, but
Yep.
At the same time,
Yeah.
like I went in there
was a
expecting to
blast,
lose money and to just go have fun. Like that was what I was more interested in. It's like it's a
I was
weekend
so
with all the
excited.
guys that I haven't seen in a
Dude.
long time all together.
I was gonna say, shit on me all you guys want. I had a tough weekend, but man, I had a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
I told Bryan I told Bryan on Friday during our practice round, I was moving from one property to another, because I just got done moving, and like I literally we had been planning this Friday practice round like all week, like probably I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Like we knew we were going to come out on Friday night before, and but I knew I had to move that day, and so I got up seriously like at 6 o'clock in the morning to start. Was going all day like as fast as I can. And literally, like I would get my stuff from one property and move it to where I was moving into, and I literally just threw it in my room. I sent you guys a picture that night. I don't
Yeah.
know if you remember seeing
Oh
it.
yeah.
I remember
I
that.
literally just I threw all of my stuff in my room, didn't organize anything, and literally like I had all of my clothes in just a pile, and I just like siphoned through it to get enough clothes for the weekend, which ended up being not enough because I had to do laundry at Jesse's on Saturday night, and literally just like took off, tried to make it to the practice round. I ended up getting to play like 3 holes in the practice round, but it was so fun because like, I got to the tee box, and we had played like one hole, or not one. They had played. Y'all had played a bunch, but this was my like after my first hole, and we were on my second tee box on Friday night, and that's when it finally hit me. Like I looked around, and I was like, "Dang, man! Like we're all together." And I looked at Bryan,
Dude.
and Bryan might remember this. And I looked at Bryan, and I just gave him a hug, and I was like, "Dude, it's been so long since I've
Yes, you
seen you."
did. Yes.
The
It's just
funniest
crazy. Like
Oh my god, the funniest thing, Scott rolls up. He's got a nice polo shirt on and some basketball shorts and just rolls out on the course with us.
He the funny thing was he rolls out on the course, takes like one practice swing, and then hits the green.
Stripes this
It's
ball.
like it's like 310 to this green, and he just runs it up the left side and drives the
Yeah, he
almost
did.
drives the green. First swing of the day.
I
I
don't
mean, you
know
could
how-
tell he was. You could tell adrenaline was pumping, and he was excited this weekend.
Yes.
It's funny that you say that, Tal, because I was actually wearing this exact gray T-shirt that I'm wearing now, and I pulled up to the course and I was like, "Man, there ain't gonna be a whole lot of people out here, but I probably better be respectful and at least put on a polo." So I put on one of my polos that I was supposed to wear that weekend, and yeah, so I had a polo on and basketball shorts.
I think it was less respectful to do that. You should have just came out in your chilling clothes.
Came out and just rolled with it. Who cares?
I don't know. Hey, look, I'll say this. Embarrassingly, that's not the first time I've ever done that. I've done that plenty of times
Well, I'd
before.
do it.
It's comfy.
I mean, it is. Hey, golf shorts now, the ones they make now just look like gym shorts. Some of them,
Yeah.
so you know, whatever. But I don't know. It was a super fun weekend, and it was just great to all be back together. And so what was great, even greater about it, was we were all back together and then some. Because we had Bert with us, and we had Monty
That's right.
with us, and
Mhm.
so we had guys.
AJ was
AJ
with us most of the weekend.
Yeah, so we had guys who aren't directly involved with this podcast, but are part of this much larger group that the listeners don't really know, and we were all able to get together. So that was super fun. But how about this, boys? How about we do us a good old Hall of Fame?
Heck
Oh, yes.
What y'all say about that?
Hey,
Let's bring her home.
David.
We can't do an episode without doing a Hall of Fame.
That's
It's
right.
true.
So
Staple.
let's get into our yeah. So let's get into our Hall of Fame. This week is going to be Hall of Fame of the games within the game. So this is basically going to be picks of games that we like to play on the golf course, or our favorite games that we play on the golf course. Basically, that are like mini games within the rounds that we play. So if you're an avid golfer, you're probably going to know all of these. If you're not an avid golfer, you get to learn. Maybe you hear about some games that next time you go out and play, you can play with your buddies. Let me pull up the good old number generator. And I love it because I'm back to, after doing it in person and having everybody to see my number generator, I'm back to having it to myself now. So, what's going on. Sorry. So I got
Yeah,
1
back
through
when you could hide
5.
it.
Listen, I think my positions in these drafts are enough proof that I'm definitely not cheating, or else because I haven't been 1 or 2 yet. So here we go. Brian's always the first number because he's always first on my screen for some reason.
Same.
No breakfast ball this time, Brian.
I'm fine with that.
No breakfast.
He's already burned his.
Yeah. So we got a 2 for Brian. So
Hey,
That
what
ain't
do you
bad.
baby?
Wow.
Brian always gets a high number for some reason. I'm not going with you first next week, Brian. I'm sorry.
Still gonna. Hey,
Let's go.
Still going
Hunter.
number 2.
Hunter's next, and he gets
See how bad I
a
can get shafted.
5.
Of course I
Every
Dang.
did.
got a
Breakfast
5.
ball.
Every
Just like your
time.
par 3 scores.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Hey,
god.
I had a birdie on a par 3. Where were you?
I parred.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right,
I also parred.
Jesse is up next. Jesse's number is going to be 3.
Wow.
So Jesse's going to go
Always
third.
3. Always right in the middle. I like it.
I tell you what always happens is it always comes down to me and Tal.
Dude,
one is
every
always on
week.
the board.
Every week.
So 1 is on the board for me and you, Tal. Do you want me to get this next number, or do you want the next number?
Don't put that on me. No.
Hey,
Give me
I'm
100
putting it
on.
on
Give me 100 on Tao getting 1. Give me 100 on that.
All right. Well, who do you want the next number to go to? Me or Tal?
It's gonna be Tao. He's gonna get a 1. Give me 100 on it.
All right. Tal gets the next number. All right. Jesse said it. 4.
Oh,
Oh,
god.
There goes all those winnings,
that's
Jesse.
a hundo.
That'd be,
I'll Venmo
that'd
you.
be 1, 2, 3, 400 out to the boys,
Look at
please.
Scott over here.
We'll accept Venmo.
I finally get to go first. In all of the
Hell yeah,
weeks that
Scott.
we've been doing this for over a month, and I've
It's
never got to go
about
first.
time.
Wow.
Yep.
About time. So, all right. I don't want to give any examples for the listeners at home because I don't want to take away like people's picks. But I mean, most of you should know. If not, when you play rounds of golf, there's just like little games that you can play like during the game or during your round to kind of like have just something else to compete for. And there's a bunch of different ones, and they all have different rules. So what we're going to do is do our typical draft style, snake style, start from the top, go to the bottom, and back up. And we're going to do 2 picks each, since there's not a ton of games to go around. But we'll do 2 picks each. And it's just your favorite games to play. Sounds simple enough?
Yes.
I like
Let's
it.
do
Okay.
it.
So I'm going to kick us off. And I'm going to go with my personal favorite, Wolf. Wolf is my favorite game to play on the course simply because of it's just so competitive. So let me explain Wolf very quickly. So you got to have at least 4 people to play because it's a team type game, right? You have a order that you go in off the tee box that is determined before the round. So let's say, for example, me, Brian, Hunter, and Tal are playing in a game of Wolf. We'll have a predetermined like lineup, like a baseball lineup, like as if you will. And so we'll hit in that order, and whoever goes first hits their ball, and then they get to pick a teammate based off of like the other people's drive off the tee box. But the thing is, let's say Tal goes first and he hits one down the middle, and then I go second, and let's say I hit one just to the left side, like just barely in the rough, but right off the fairway. And then Hunter goes next, and he hits one in the fairway. Once Hunter hits one, Tal can no longer pick me to be his teammate. So basically, it goes like that, and basically Tal can either pick one of us to be his teammate, or he can go by himself. And whoever of the 2 teams of 2 wins the hole, has the 2 best scores, wins the hole, and they get 1 point. And whoever has the most points individually at the end wins the game. So it's kind of super complex, and I'll say this: it's hard enough to learn it on the course for the first time. So I'm sure me explaining it over just like verbally is probably super hard to understand. But it's a super fun game just because like
It is
I can
fun.
be a teammate. I can be a teammate with Tal on one hole, and then on the next hole I can be a teammate with Jesse, and on the next hole I can be a teammate with Hunter. Or how like it's just so different. So like you really can't play like you can't have like allies in the game. You got to pretty much play like your best game, but you also got to be like strategic when you pick your teammates on each hole. So that's my first pick. It's a super fun game, super competitive, and you can incorporate money if you want to, but that gets kind of dangerous because you can lose a lot of money very quickly.
Yeah.
That's my first game, Wolf.
I like that. I do like
My
Wolf.
first pick.
Wolf is fun.
No, I love Wolf. It's a really good game. For my first pick, I'm gonna go with one. Just because I normally like playing my own ball, but I'm gonna go with 2-man low ball. So what we usually do sometimes, and we'll mix and match it, but usually you just kind of a good general rule of thumb I would say would be you play with your partner, whoever you ride around the cart with. Play your own ball on each hole, and you take the lowest score that y'all got on that hole, and just kind of go from there from each hole. You play against different people in your group.
We played a little bit of that on Friday night.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
That game's a lot of fun when you have
two-man
even
low ball.
when you have even 3 and 4
Yeah,
people and you're taking the lowest 2 or 3
we did on
scores.
Saturday
Yeah,
night
when
too.
you can play with the
fine.
big group, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It's
we were able to
competitive.
do. That
It's
game. That was a
competitive.
blast. Yeah.
We played with, I said Friday night. Well, y'all played on Friday night, but we all played like on Saturday night. We had a big group of like 8, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
That was
Yeah.
chaos.
It was like 8,
I've
so it was
never
like
seen so many
4.
balls on the green before.
What a
That was
nightmare.
absolute
Low
chaos.
It was fun.
It was
That was
fun
a
though.
blast. It was chaos.
That's a good pick. Good pick.
For mine, for number 3 here, my first pick is a game that I was introduced to probably a few years back, just growing up and stuff. Hunter honestly probably showed us the first time, and then he introduced it to us, reintroduced it. All I ever really play is Wolf or low ball, but he reintroduced us to this game. It's very, very similar to Wolf, but Vegas. I really enjoy playing Vegas because there's not any picking. There's not any picking in that game. You don't necessarily get to pick your teammate. So you tee off, and the 2 guys that are on the right side of the fairway play together, and the 2 guys that are on the left side of the fairway play together. And you basically play just like Wolf, where you accumulate dots. And at the end of the day, the dot winner is the overall winner. And I like that too because, if somebody's really hot that day, or if like there's a really like good player in the group in Wolf, you can usually tend to wait until they hit their shot, and if they're playing really good that day, you can kind of ride the hot hand and pick that guy. So it's kind of like it can kind of be like at a disadvantage, whereas if you hit and you play Vegas, there's really no advantage. You don't get to choose, just wherever the balls end up, that's how you determine the team. So I like Vegas a lot.
We play that quite a bit.
The
Yeah, we
tough part
played a
about
few
Vegas
times.
too, we haven't played this way before, but like the margins can get ridiculous. Like if we're playing the 4 of us and Bryan takes a 4, I take a 4, we get 44, and if Scott and Jesse take a 3 and a 5, they get 35. So they won by 9. You guys get 9 points. So all of a sudden, you're playing $10 a point. I've played in Arkansas with some guys before, and I've seen thousands of dollars exchanged in a game of Vegas. We're clearly not playing with that kind of money.
Not
Oh,
us.
That payroll.
That's a big
I've
old
seen
negative.
thousands.
I'm sorry.
It scared me. They went to
That's
pay out in the
terrifying.
parking lot that night, and the guy that I was riding with was like, "Hey, Hunter, just stay in the truck. Don't come over here for this, because this guy's about to lose his shit, and he's gonna be pretty grumpy. So you just you stay in the truck. Don't worry about it. I'll handle it."
Jeez.
Hey, hot take. Speaking of money exchanges from golf games, hot take. Pro golfer Dahman. He's been up there a few times this year. He was on Max Homa's podcast, Get a Grip, and he said that Venmo is ruining the cash exchange game of golf. He said he plays for hard cash only.
Really?
Because traditionally all these games that we're mentioning, don't have to play for money, but traditionally that you do play for money. That's just it matters if you want to or not. Usually time like we don't play for money, we just play like just for the game. But no, like all these games are kind of like old traditional money games that have been like revised, and used to like it would just be like cash stuff. And he was saying that like too many people try to like play these games with him and try to use Venmo for like Cash App or something. He
That's
was like,
hilarious.
that ain't worth the crap. He was like, I don't play for Venmo or Cash App. I play for cold hard cash.
We're gonna find you an
Boomer.
ATM,
What a
son.
boomer.
I can respect that.
Jesus.
Go ahead. Who's fourth?
I believe
Who's
it's
fourth?
me.
Tao.
I know like
Towers.
we don't play for money too much. I know I've gone out and we've played it cheap for money, and it was actually really fun. I like skins, where if
Well,
you
because we
do
don't
if you
have
do it
it.
right, it's like $1 a hole. Say you play $1 a hole, that's not too bad, right? But
Yeah.
I know people that can get up there and they play $20, $50, $100 a hole.
Been
Which,
there.
if you're both good, you can go back and forth. But if you got guys that are a little better than you, then you can end up screwing yourself and losing a lot of money. But it is a fun game. I like to do it. Like, if it's $1 bills,
Classic game.
it's fun. Yeah, it's a really classic game.
Mhm.
For sure.
We've played games before that were like, depending on what the game is and how the point system is and like whatever. We've played games for like quarters,
Yeah.
like literally where like
Yeah.
you could be the biggest loser and you pay like $2 to
Mhm.
somebody. Like it's so low. Like there's not even a point for using money. We just do it just kind of like as like motivation. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
You
we
walk
use
away
money
with
as when we
75
reference
cents.
money here, we usually play $1 a dot in all these games. Dots are usually worth $1. But I have seen in Scott, you already picked, right? Okay, well
Yeah, yeah, I've
I'm not
already
going to say that. I'm not going to say the name of the game because it might be your next pick. I don't know. But we have played a game where we've played $1 a dot, and Scott's been down $40 at one point to me and AJ, our buddy Austin Johnson that plays out at Somerville, old TPC Somerville. Scott's been down $40 at once at one time and pressed on 17 and 18 and actually came back, and AJ and I owed him like $6 or $7 a piece when he was down 40. He flipped it to 2 holes.
Jeez.
So these dollar
That was
games can get
Scotty.
up there.
What a
But-
guy.
Me and AJ were feeling bad for the guy, and 2 holes later we were pissed because we were paying the
shoot,
guy.
come
Comeback
over
of the
here.
year.
Scott with the finger guns.
It was impressive. I'll give it to Scott. I mean, I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
Yeah, baby.
Jesus.
I got it in my blood, baby. It's in my blood.
Ice in the
cold.
veins.
Whoever's last.
I believe
Hunter,
it's
is
me
it
as
Hunter?
usual.
No.
I'll put
Ah,
You can take both of your picks. Both your picks right here.
So my first one, I really like. We haven't played this as a group before, but I usually play this a lot with my dad and some of the guys we play with, like on Saturday, Sunday. If we're not playing with you guys, we usually play Nassau, which is just a bet on the front. Winner of the front gets a pot. Bet on the back, everybody gets the winner on the back gets a pot, and then the overall winner gets a pot too. And you can play like 5, 5, and 10, or 5, 5,
Heard
and
of that
5,
one.
whatever. So it's pretty easy,
Person-
pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of track keeping to do. You just kind
Yeah.
of play it out and see what
Yep.
happens.
I don't know if y'all
A
know,
lot
but
of,
there was
not a lot of
lot
math for the simple guys.
There was a lot of Nassau bets going on this weekend at that tournament. A lot of
I
Nassau
believe
it.
bets. Yeah.
What was the
bunch.
result of the $1,000 bet, Jesse? Did that come out? How'd that turn out? We didn't ever hear.
So yes, there was
Not yours,
allegedly-
obviously.
Allegedly, there was a $1,000 bet, not between me, but I don't know how they settled it. I know who won, but I'm not sure how they settled it. I'm not going to drop names or anything.
No, I
don't wanna
wouldn't expect you to. I was just curious.
But I know who won, but I'm not sure how they settled up. I don't know because they were doing a Nassau at first, and then they changed it. Then they changed it again. But the number we heard before they teed off was $1,000. So
God.
not sure.
Man,
I would love.
Wow.
I'll tell you what. By the next pod, I'll have you guys an answer on how that finished up.
Dude,
Yeah.
talking about like $1,000 getting thrown around and like not naming names. People are gonna think we're part of some kind of inner circle golf club. Like,
No, not at all. Like I said, we're playing $1 a dot, $1 a dot, baby.
$100
Next
golf
thing-
league.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, Jesse's gonna come in with like, whereas like all it is like his black silhouette and like the voice has changed where it's all real deep. You can't tell what he's talking like his voice.
You see on those? Don't they have it on 60 Minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
All I know is that there was $1,000 thrown around for this game.
The
They've
voice
been on like
deep.
cartel shows.
Bro,
It's the guy that's
He's
telling
on
the
the-
cartel to try to protect his
Yeah.
identity. Oh, shit.
That's
I guess
Hunter,
my
what's your
second one,
pick?
I kind of told you guys about this a little bit, but I've played in many of these, and they've honestly been. I had a great time this weekend, but some of the most fun tournaments I've ever played in are scramble tournaments. Just 2-man, 4-man. Grab your best friends, go out there and play a 4-man, and just have an absolute freaking blast.
Yeah.
Typically, you can drink a lot more beer and have a lot more fun because there's not so much pressure of playing your own ball the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fun. There's a lot of collaboration. It's a lot of just good
Little
family.
strategy to that too.
Yeah, there is, no
Sure.
question.
Yeah,
So,
somebody
I've
go up
always
there and
done
try and
that.
bomb it, and then the other people play it safe a little bit, just in case.
Exactly. So I always thought those were fun just because it's kind of a collaboration deal. And clearly I need all the help that I can get when it comes to playing in tournaments.
Gotta have
Just the-
somebody to
just
let
the
you
short
know
game
there's
of
a
the
tree in front of you, buddy.
Yep, that'd be it. Trees are 75% air, Scott, and that's what I was banking on, but the 25% got me all weekend.
As
I was
David
about
would
to
say.
say, if that's the case, you had a lot of 25% in your way
Yep.
this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think
You'd be
Hunter, you
correct.
found the trees
Well-
that were.
I have a
Real
game that
question.
I've wanted to play with some of you. Like, if we go have a foursome out there, I'll have all of us out there. I think it'd be really fun if we played round robin. So, it's basically you have a partner, right? It's 2v2. And then, but every 6 holes, your partner switches. And you get a new one.
Oh wow, never heard of this.
It
One.
just goes in like the round
Yeah,
robin.
yeah,
like
no,
the
yeah,
name.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And you can play it for money. You don't have to play it for money on like just the 6 holes. But I think it'd be kind of cool to just go out there and do that, where everybody just switches around and see how we end up after 6 holes.
That'd
You
be
can
cool.
find some interesting
That'd be
duos
awesome.
there.
I like that.
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah, I do like that.
Something different.
They have-
Mhm.
For sure.
You'd have guys out there throwing 6 holes, being missing birdie putts on purpose, just like
I
just
hate
so they can
this
come
guy.
back and
This
get
guy
you.
sucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just throw the
Or
throw
you can hear the
match
old-
for him.
Or you can hear the old classic Jesse Kelly. Whoops.
Oops.
Whoops.
I missed.
Oh man, I duffed that chip. Damn.
Pick number 3 or pick number 2 for me. Moving on. I'm going to go with a classic, something that I love to play, something that me and Scott play essentially every time, just because it's a little more fair than stroke play. It's just like more fun. It's just more like build up. But I love to play matches. There's just something about going,
Oh,
like
yeah.
playing a hole, and me and Scott go back and forth. Scott will come out and he'll make par the first hole or something. I'll
Oh,
make
we
bogey,
call-
and Scott will be like, well, 1 up, only going up from here. I'll come back on 2, and like all square. See if you get the lead again. Something. And it's just fun. It's a fun match. It's fun to talk trash and match play. It's all like, you don't, it's just a fun little way to go out there and play a game. If you're not really wanting to play for anything, you want to play your own ball and stuff. You don't want to get into the nitty gritty of like a deep, difficult game. You just go out there and play match play.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just basically whoever wins the holes goes up. So
Jesse, you said this before, and it's a really good point. Like when you play these, and this is just not like anything in particular as far as match play, but just any of these games that are like different from like your score. As you've said before, like they're so fun to play because a lot of times they like totally distract you from what you're actually shooting.
Mhm.
So like for us, like we all are so competitive, and like we want to like always shoot our best score, but it's like it gives us a chance to kind of like forget about whatever we're shooting and just like compete against the guy next to you instead of with yourself. Because most of the time when you're playing golf, like you're competing against yourself pretty much. And so like I remember you said that a few weeks ago when we were playing one of these games, and you were like, I love this game just because it like lets me forget about my score and just worry about
sure.
like the game. And that
I feel like I
always
almost
stuck
made
with.
a comment. I feel like I almost made a comment too, where I was like having a really good day and stuff, and you were playing me tight. I feel like I said something about like I was your pace car that day, like in NASCAR. I was kind of your pace car,
Yeah.
and you were playing me tight and stuff, and you were like super super close to breaking 80 and stuff, and didn't even really like notice it until down the stretch. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great way to distract you and make you not think about score so much and just worry about trying to beat the other guy. So it's fun. It's definitely
Yeah,
fun.
it's fun. Brian, your last pick, man.
My last pick, I'm gonna go with one that I honestly don't think we've played as a group on the course, but one that would be really fun. That would be alternate shot. So like have one person tee off every
Who
even
was
hole,
wanting to
one
do
person,
that? Yeah.
your partner tee off every odd hole. And
Oh
you
God.
just literally alternate shots every
Oh.
till you finish out the hole. I don't know. It'd definitely be frustrating and really fun at the same time.
Yeah, when I blister one way right and you come up to hit it and it goes way left, and we go, oh shit, the green's over there.
Yeah.
We played a game very similar to that. I feel like, I mean, for us, talent wise, we're not spectacular by any means. But like a couple weeks ago, out at the club, we played a worst shot scramble, and that's kind of what it made me think
Oh,
of. Is
man.
like
Oh,
you
that's
hit
cool.
you hit a ball,
That would be
and
fun.
then like you play the worst ball of the scramble group and stuff. And I feel like that's kind of like what it would be like for us to play alternate shot. We would just find our place in God knows where.
Yeah.
And, I could see us, since we
God.
are so competitive, getting pissed at each other playing
That
that
is
game.
Oh,
that is
yeah.
a game.
The
Isn't it?
amount
I
of-
think it
The
is.
amount of dog cussing we would do, it'd be like Brian would be my partner, and he'd tee off, and be like, "God, Brian, that ball's supposed to be over here." Just push this one right, and then
I
I
can
go
tell you where I'd
shake
lose
one
my
left.
mind.
And, oh, I
And that would be when my partner does exactly what I'm really good at doing, duffing chip shots.
There is a game
Oh my
go.
God.
It's
That's,
called like
that's a good pick. That'd be fun.
I do like that pick.
Hey,
there's a
no, it
game
would
called
be
like
fun.
Gruesomes that goes along with what Jesse was playing, where like the other team in the scramble, they pick the worst shot for the other team, and that's the one they use.
Oh my gosh, that'd be
Mm.
brutal.
Yeah.
It's
We're
terrible.
gonna have to try out some of these ones that I
Yeah.
haven't really ever played.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought of one that I forgot that would be a lot of fun to do.
Hold
It's
on,
like
before
playing
we keep
cross-country.
getting all into these things, Scotty, I don't want us to say.
Yeah,
what we
Scott, you
did.
gotta go.
All right, so my last pick to round out the Hall of Fame is called, and I'm gonna get made fun of this because I already got made fun of mentioned earlier. It's called Bingo Bango Bongo, and it's basically where it's. Oh, you don't even know. You haven't even freaking
We
played
got a
it.
Super
right.
Blue Ball podcast. What are we doing?
Never heard of it,
I just had
for being
to.
honest. I'm excited to
So
hear about
this
that,
is-
Scott. Enlighten.
Who is she?
It's a game. It's a game of points, and so this is how it works. First player in the group, like whatever hole or whatever group you're playing with, first player of the group to get the ball on the green gets 1 point. That's the bingo. The
Yep.
player whose ball is closest to the pin, once all the balls are on the green, gets a point, and that's the bango. And then finally, the player in the group who's the first one to get the ball in the hole gets a point, and then it's the bongo. So that's how you
That
play
sounds
that, and
awesome.
basically you
I'd like
just
that.
add up the
That
points.
is awesome.
You talk about
I,
ready golf.
I retract my boo.
I'd be
Is
sprinting
that
to the
a,
green.
is that a
but
is that a point? Is that a collective point total at the end where all of your points, whether
Yeah.
you made a bingo or a bango or a bongo, just however
Yeah,
many points
so-
you have? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so like each
That
one
is
is worth
awesome.
just 1 point. So it's not like one of them is worth another because it doesn't. You don't want to undervalue one thing. So it's like, but it's 1 point per bingo, bango, or bongo. But obviously, you're gonna have holes where there'll be like one guy will maybe get all three, or one guy will get two
Yeah.
of them, or whatever. But I mean, sometimes you may have where like one guy gets another guy gets another guy gets the third one. But it'd be super fun to play because also it's just
I've
really
got
a-
simple. So
I've got a proposition for you, Scott and Tao. Scott and Tao and I are supposed to play Sunday. I propose that one of our rounds, we're probably more than likely going to play 36. Let's not kid ourselves. One of our rounds, I would like to try that game. That game sounds awesome. That may be my
yeah,
favorite.
that
pick of
sounds
all of
super
them.
fun.
Never even heard of it, but that might be my favorite.
You got to
of all
stay
our
up on
picks
your
right there.
honors though, because if you're not the furthest one out and you putt and you make it, you're getting 3 points there, and somebody's gonna
Oh,
come
yeah.
That's true.
decleat you.
Oh, I'm gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
sprinting. I'm gonna
Play
sprint
ready
to the
golf on
green
the
once I
putting
drive
green.
up there to be the first one to make it.
Well, no, it's
Speaking
honors.
of,
You can't
uh,
just go putt it.
Speaking of decleating, I think Jesse was ready to decleat Tao when Tao was trading his cleats across the green all day on Saturday.
Oh my god.
Tao was quite literally moonwalking across the green and just stuffing up every green right by the pin. And I was about to lose it on him because every single pin had a scuff mark on the green from Tao dragging his feet.
I can't help it. It's how I walk,
Okay,
bro.
so
Thank
No,
God he
no,
had
no. To
spikeless
put this
shoes
into
on.
perspective, to put this into perspective, like Tao would be disappointed in himself on the hole, and if you can imagine like an old like classic video of like Ron Washington coming out and arguing with a home plate umpire and just kicking dirt on his feet. That's like Tao on the greens. He was just like
Cutting a
two steps on
rug,
the
basically.
cutting a
He was.
rug.
I think
Cutting a
moonwalking
rug
was
is
the best way to put it.
I hit the
Yeah.
old turn and burn to throw this golf ball 400
He
yards
was-
the other
He
way.
was cutting tile across the damn green.
And
Good
I remember
times.
Jesse just backed out like this.
Then Jesse would come up behind him every time. Tao, come on, man. He'd get his shoe and just start laying down the grass again.
I would literally be like, I know you're mad, Tal, but come on. And as I would be saying it, I'd be like patting it down with my putter. I'd be like, this guy, this freaking guy. Go ahead and give him just one more thing about the
Probably made it
tournament.
worse.
Go ahead and give him the facial expression of the weekend, Tal, because we played in this tournament, and you're supposed to put the ball out into the hole, every single hole, no matter what.
Oh my God!
Or not. And we witnessed the guy that me and Scott played with in our group the second day do it a couple times. Scott was actually guilty of it on accident, picking the ball up by the hole. I think we witnessed Hunter have a few aneurysms.
I had lip outs. I didn't pick it up. I just lipped it up.
Yeah, you did.
He had a couple aneurysms
did.
and a few blood vessels popped there, and he picked his up a couple times. And Tal and I would just hit each other with the same look every single time.
Oh my God!
Show the listeners, Tal.
The first
Go ahead and
time
get real
this
close.
guy comes up and just
boy.
goes, grabs his ball, and Jesse from across the green just goes. And I looked back at him like, do we see that?
Did you see that?
Hey, okay, we just act like we didn't see it this time. We're good.
Oh my God, there was that par 3, and Jesse's like a
Yep.
foot from the hole, and
Not
he just
even,
goes,
man.
"Nice putt,
Not
Jesse!"
even.
Pow, and slaps it back to him, and we're surrounded
Oh my
on
God.
3 holes around us of people on it, and Jesse looks just like, takes his hat off, looks around like, did anybody see that? And then just goes right at
I
me.
looked at Tal, and he was already hitting me with it. I was like,
Well, somebody had
Let
said.
me go ahead. Let me go ahead and defend myself really quick while we're on the subject.
I said it was an accident.
this is
I'm not
like-
blaming you.
Yeah, I know, but it's still, I still feel like I should at least say something about it. Can't let it slip. So like, this was before I knew my score. Like it was late in the round because it was on like 16. I get no, it was on. Let's see,
It was
for
on
us
the par
it was.
5. It was on the par 5. So
It was on the par
it'd been
5. It was on the
17.
front. It was on the front 9.
We'll see.
It was on the front 9 though. So and like I knew I was playing good, and this was when like Jesse didn't know that I didn't want to know my score, and I told Tal, like Tal knew, Jesse didn't know. Jesse had told me that I was 1 over at the time, and it was like late, like almost to 9, almost that was on our 8th hole.
Yeah.
And so like 1 over after 8 is like good. I mean, for us, is good. And so Jesse had told me that I was 1 over, and that had me so rattled in my head, like because I did not want to know what I was shooting.
I had
Because
no
what happens
idea. I
with
felt
me-
so bad after
Yeah.
that. You were like, I don't want to know, because I was like, dude, you're playing really good. You know, you're only 1 over, and I had no idea that
Yeah.
you did not want to know. So I felt terrible afterwards.
And yeah, so it's like, and I was just so rattled from that, because that's one of those things where, like, as soon as I know that I'm doing good, like, I have a sense that I'm doing good, and I have like hard, concrete evidence that I'm doing good. It just gets in my head, and so I had that in my head, and we're on the green of 8, and I'm like putting, and I putted one, and it was literally like an inch or 2 from the hole. Like, there's no possible way on God's green earth that I would have missed this putt. Like, I would have had to have been hit by a car on the green to have missed this putt. And I picked it up, and not knowing that I picked it up. Tal, obviously, I've said before, Tal was like caddying for me. He goes, "You may want to put that back." And me, like, being completely locked in, completely in the zone, but also at the same time very rattled, I was like, "Yeah, man, thanks." And, like, I keep on like walking, like just like didn't
I
even
was
like
like, "All right."
register in my head.
Yeah,
What-
Me and Tal. Here goes
like,
me and
I feel
Tal.
bad. Like, I feel bad because like I didn't. Tal, I'm about to say this, but I want you to know that this was not like my intentions. But I basically, like, just for like a representation, I basically big league Tal.
Yeah,
I was
dude,
like, yeah,
big league. Like, okay,
Yeah,
we're
sure.
all right, buddy.
And so
Walk
I
to
got
the
back to the car.
Okay.
After I was like, yeah, sure, man. Like, and I had said that like not even knowing what he was talking about. And Jesse comes over to me at the cart, and he was like, "You didn't finish that putt." And I was like, "Yeah, I did. What are you talking about?" He was like, "Bro, Tal literally told you to put the ball back." And I was like, "Ooh." And then because that's when it hit me, like that's what Tal was telling me to put it back. And I felt bad. I was like, I immediately was like, "Tal, I'm so
He
sorry." I
just
didn't
turned to
know what
me,
you
and
were
I'm
talking
sitting there
about."
like,
Me and Tal thought he was frustrated, but he really like just had it like a he just blanked. He didn't even really
Yeah,
think
like I
about
wasn't. It wasn't even like out of frustration. It was like out of habit of like us playing so much and
Mhm.
picking up so much.
Like a
But
2-inch putt.
it. It was
Yeah.
hilarious though. That was a good one.
Thanks,
That was a good
bud.
one.
so let's right now. Let's get out all
Well,
of
there
our
was, like-
honorable mention stuff that we want to talk about, and let's wrap up this show for this week. So what else? What else we got that we want to mention before we go?
Give them the rundown on our finish. Bryan and Hunter and them had a big finish, and I want you to explain our finish, our last 2 holes finish.
All right, so yeah, so Brian won and did good. Like we even said like going into it, we were like somebody's bound to win one of these flights. Like we knew we had 8 guys out of our friend group that were there, all playing. We were like somebody's gonna win. So Brian won. That was so cool. Like we were all super happy for him, and we just ultimately had a fun time. But me and Jesse like I've said already, like we had a super just like intense, like anticipating kind of match. Like we knew it was going to be good. Then I think like you always have that on the back of your head, like it could be bad. Like I could blow up or just not have a good day, or Jesse could not have a good day. Like it ultimately ended up being like a great match. We went into 17 tied, and on 17 is a par 5. It's like reachable in 2. Like always produces a lot of eagles and like produces tons and tons of birdies just because it's not very long. But like hitting par on this par 5 is like almost like a bogey on a normal hole if you really think about it, just because of the way it's set up. So like we go into it and I make par, and so like typically like on this hole, like I know I just said that it's kind of like a bogey. Like when you look at the scorecard, like a par is never bad. Like I will never complain about a par. And Jesse got on the green in 2. It was about 50 feet away, and I went ahead and finished out with my par because I kind of got up there pretty close, and was just for the sake of like being respectful and getting out of everybody's way, I went ahead and finished out with par. And so I was thinking in my head, I was like, okay, Jesse's gonna at least 2-putt this. He'll probably be 1 up going into 18. I was like, it's fine. And he's like 50 feet away.
I would have brought the match back to tied at that point, I think, right?
Yeah,
Because you were beating me
on the
by.
whole weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
So he would have. I was like, he could 2-putt this, go up by 1 on today, and then be tied on the weekend. And it was uphill the entire way. Had a little bit, probably about 5 feet from left to right break, and he just jars this eagle putt. And I literally I was in. Jesse was in at that point, and we still had 2 other guys that had to play on that hole. And I literally, when he made that eagle putt, I literally said, "Good putt, Jesse," and I walked to the cart and like didn't even let the other 2 guys finish before I left. Before I walked away.
Scott
So
just big leaguing everybody.
Oh, dude, it wasn't even a big league at that point. It was just like, you know what? Of course, it comes down to this. But so he eagled 17, and then par 3 was the 18, and he birdied that one. And like, it's not out of the question that I could have like made it a match on 18. I just had to stick it close. And like Tal said, I didn't. I like almost hit it in the water. Was stuck literally right behind a tree. Like didn't even have a chance to like chip in for birdie or like up and down for par. Like I just had no chance. Like I knew bogey was the best score I was going to get. So I essentially blew up on 17 and 18. Jesse went eagle birdie to finish out the round. So with that being said, like
I told him, I was like,
frustrating.
all right, Scott, you can move it your club length this way, and you can just go for it. There's a little window here. Just go for it. The worst one, you're going to chip out and then go for the 3rd shot, right? From the chip out. Or you could go for this and then still just shoot it from your drop area. If you don't make it.
Yeah, I ended up taking my medicine there. I was right behind the tree. I just like poked out to where the drop zone is, which is just like a little wide open grass patch in front of the green. And I just took my medicine and took my bogey there. So just easy to say that it didn't go the way I wanted to, but it was so fun though. Like it was seriously like one of the funnest times I've ever had playing golf in a weekend.
Nick, yeah.
Right behind Jesse's bachelor trip.
I got another honorable mention.
Go ahead.
For someone who can play such horrendous shots on the 9th or 18th hole at Somerville, I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm gonna toot my own horn right quick. I'm pretty proud of myself for my second shots on both days because I'm pretty sure I was 5,000 yards away from the green after the tee shot.
Yeah.
I got it up there every time. So
He had probably the recovery shot of the weekend
He
throughout the
did.
whole tournament. I don't
I
think
about
anybody
killed a
had a
couple
better
friends
recovery
in the
shot.
process, but
Bryan hit one
Yeah.
about 2.5 holes left on 9,
literally,
and somehow ended up making bogey. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, this bogey was probably felt like a birdie to Bryan because he had to go
I was
through.
in.
Oh man.
He had to go through not one set of trees, but another set of trees up by the green, and he punched it right through both of them. It was unbelievable.
It was the best snap hook you've ever seen. Best.
Yeah. Oh man. But it was so fun. It was super fun weekend. You boys got anything else that you wanna throw out there?
I'm good.
I'm
I'm
good.
good.
All right.
Really enjoyed it, fellas.
Well, with that, we're gonna wrap up today's episode. Once again, thank you all for listening, and thank you guys for spending the last hour or so with me and on the pod. And so Bryan, Hunter, Jesse, Tal, appreciate you guys coming on, and it's always fun talking with you guys. And I think this is probably one of the funnest episodes for us, just because we got to kind of reminisce on a fun weekend. But to the listeners, seriously, thank you. The show is nothing without you guys. And we hope that you continue to listen. And as always, always feel free to send us in stuff or questions or topics you want to hear about, feedback on the pod. Always keep in contact with us. And if you're not following us, please go follow us. As always, Golfletes on Instagram and TikTok, and Golfletes1 on Twitter. So if you're not following us, go do that. Big shout out to Ryan Tal Gotti. You're the man, dude. We couldn't do this without you. He's the founder and CEO of Smashletes and the Golfletes. So thank you, Tal. And as always, Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays. So have a good one.